That brings us to the fourth and last speaker of today. I want to welcome Laura Hoving, and she's Technical Service Manager Poultry in the EMEA region for Christian Hansen. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
I will hand you the clicker already.
Yes.
Her talk of today, in her talk of today, she will tackle one of the issues which is on the mind of many, which is raw materials. And her presentation title is "Don't Let Raw Material Ruin Your Profitability." So, Laura, how can we ensure that our birds do well? Please explain.
Yes. Well, I will gladly explain to you. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you.
It's very nice to see, as other speakers also said, see real faces again instead of a screen. So my name is Laura Hoving. I work as a technical service manager for Christian Hansen. And feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn if you want to know more about me. So how can we prevent raw materials to ruin the profitability? So right now, there is a big challenge in the market if you look at profitability. Feed prices are increasing tremendously. They have been increasing over the last year due to COVID, due to the war. So availability is challenging at the moment. Quality is also a little bit on the challenging side. So that's a big challenge for the industry at the moment. But there's also a big opportunity in the market. So if we look at consumer trends, consumers really look for healthy and safe foods. They value animal welfare very much, but they also want to eat foods that limit the climate impact. So there's a big opportunity in sustainability as well for the animal production side. So the big question here today I'd like to answer for you is how can we go from a dilemma of having to choose between the challenge and the opportunity to go to a situation where you don't have to choose, but you can have both. So first I'd like to introduce Christian Hansen to you very briefly. So we're the worldwide microbial leader, which means we have a data bank of 40,000 microbial strains. Every second cheese or yogurt in the whole world will have our bacterial cultures in it. So in human products, we're very, very large. We have over 300 academic partnerships, and corporate nights actually ranked us as the world sustainability leader. So it's something we're very proud of. And we're basically using the power of good bacteria to improve life in general. So this one, well, you're probably all familiar with these graphs. This is just the actual day-to-day challenge we're working with the increasing raw material prices we see all over the world. And if we look, on the other hand, to the long-term opportunities, research has been done recently for consumers, and they answered that 78% of consumers are really looking for more sustainable foods. So they are looking for a shorter production chain. They want foods that are locally produced, raw materials that are locally produced. And also 77% are looking for new and healthier ways to live. So that's something we can really have an impact on as a poultry business in general. So big opportunity there for us. So now is the big question: how can we go from, do I choose profitability in the short term with high raw material prices, or do we go into the consumer trends and follow sustainability and health? What do we choose? How do we do it? So with using probiotics, we can offer you the possibility to not having to choose. So you can have the short-term profitability, and you can have the long-term sustainability and consumer health demands. So if we look to production profitability, very important. So if you would use probiotics, more meat or eggs will be produced. It's all scientifically backed up. So we've done a lot of research to get for the results we have. So the feed usage will be improved. There is less waste at the slaughterhouse, so that's very good for less food waste in general. And also less drugs used, so less antibiotics being used. There's also a big impact on animal welfare and the environment. So the flocks are healthier, which means you can have reduced heat stress, there's less footpath lesions, and there is a reduction in greenhouse gas emissions as well. And if you look to the healthy foods side, probiotics give you the opportunity to have a cleaner label. They reduce salmonellas, and there's also a reduced need for antibiotics. And if we go a little bit further into one of our newest triple strain products called GALLIPRO Fit, there's a few parameters I'd like to share with you that really grasp the numbers that talk to everybody, I think. So if we look at the health and feed safety part, so using GALLIPRO Fit will reduce salmonella shedding with 1 log, and for the non-mathematical people, that means a reduction of 90% of salmonella shedding in your flocks. If we look at an economical profitability part, there is an overall improvement of 3 points of FCR, which is backed up with over 25 field trials in Europe. And if we go back to the health part again, in antibiotics use, there is a reduction of 26% of antibiotics use overall in all of those flocks. And also, if we go to the slaughterhouse, so the food waste part, there's 26% less waste at the slaughterhouse, less condemnations. And I would like to make the 3 points of FCR speak to you a little bit more even. So last year, 3 points of FCR would mean 3 cents per bird, or roughly 10 euros of a decreased cost in your feed per ton. Whereas at the moment, with the high feed prices, 3 points of FCR will bring you 4.5 cents per bird, or will reduce your feed cost with 15 euros per ton. So instead of having to increase your feed price all the time, by actually implementing a product like GALLIPRO Fit, you can reduce your feed cost with 15 euros per ton of compound feed. So the big question is, how can we secure bird health and profitability with probiotics? So I just explained a little bit about GALLIPRO Fit. I don't know if everybody can read it, but you'll get the article with the graph in it as well. So at the moment, what we see, if we focus especially on feed safety and gut health, which is one of the modes of action of our probiotics. So if there's a shortage in feed ingredients, there's basically 3 things you can do. You can choose to increase your crude protein levels in the diet, which is one option. The second one is to decrease your total nutritional density in your diet. So that's more a profitability one. And the third one is you can adjust the safety margin for alternative feedstuffs. So with some raw materials becoming more difficult to get, and especially with grains like wheat, and there is expected to be a big shortage later on, so other raw materials will be used more frequently. You can adjust your safety margin to do so and put them in your feed. The overall conclusion, whichever one you choose, if you don't use a probiotic in your feed, if you look at the crude protein one, you will maintain your production levels, but there are more risks for dysbiosis and gut microbiota problems, so footpath lesions and things like that. If you use probiotics, in all 3 of the cases, you will maintain your production levels, but you will also maintain your gut health, which is very important, because healthier birds mean healthier meat, mean more profitability for the farmer and also for all the others in the industry. So, and in general, we already showed it looks at a 3-point decrease in FCR. So that was a very short presentation from my side. The take-home messages I have for you is that the poultry industry really needs to stay profitable on the short term with all the increases in feed prices and raw materials we see. But we also have to really look at the long-term opportunity to keep up with the key consumer trends and invest in sustainability and more healthy feed, shorter supplies and CO2 emissions. And well, the most important one is if you use Chr. Hansen probiotics, the poultry producers can stay profitable and competitive in the long term by filling well-established consumer trends. So.
Thank you very much, Laura, for explaining probiotics and the profitability aspects of it, and health aspects, of course. I was really surprised about the immense increase in prices of feed the last couple of months, and also that it has such a big impact, because you said like 15 euros a ton. And is your expectation? Will it be even more damaging to the producer, the feed cost increase?
I expect feed prices will increase, raw material prices will keep on increasing even more. So it's very, very, well, interesting what's going to happen with the new harvests, because we're sort of, well, finishing all the old grains and going into the new harvests. But another very, very important part is, I mean, you have the increase of the raw material and the feed cost for poultry in general at the moment. But if the retailers don't pay for the product, it's going to be very, very difficult.
Yeah, the margins will be even tighter.
Margins will be even tighter. So yeah, we're really looking at the retailers to compensate the higher raw material costs, but also the higher energy costs as well. So it's very interesting what's going to happen.
Interesting situation. Is there a question from you, the audience, at this moment in time? Maarten?
Yeah, thanks for your nice presentation. If you would have to position your the mode of actions of your strains within your probiotics, where would you position them in the VC concept?
Well, we have a triple strain product, so all our different bacteria are selected on specific modes of action. So every bacillus has different modes of action. So actually, if we position them in your circle, they tackle all 4 of them. But each and every one does it in a different way. So one maybe do 1 and 2, and the other one just 3 and 4. So it depends on which species. But strains matter. So that's all the.
Really interesting. So you have to come up with a new vicious circle, Maarten, because it's solved.
Or just.
Really good. You also mentioned that profitability and health can be secured by this probiotic, right? Are there any other gut health additives which could do the same?
Well, yeah, thank you for your question. It all comes down to the modes of action of those products. So I don't know them because I work for Chr. Hansen, so I only know the modes of action of our probiotics and of our bacteria. But looking at the types of modes of action the bacteria have, they tackle, well, in Maarten's vicious circle, they tackle basically all the stages. So it might be hard to find a product that tackles all 4 of them at the same time, like probiotics can do.
Well, it's a good take-home message as well.
Question.
There is a question, yeah?
Yeah.
I didn't see it, sorry.
You mentioned the price increases of wheat. If you would change the grain source in your feed, would that have an effect on the type of probiotic you have to choose?
No, it wouldn't. No, it wouldn't have to change the type of probiotic you choose. If you look at our product with the triple strains, they have modes of action that increase the safety margin, really. So if you're using a little bit more, dangerous is not maybe the right word, but feed ingredients, because of the lack of availability of the normal cereals you would use, like wheat, Probiotics will increase your safety margin, so they pretty much decrease the risk of dysbacteriosis and problems in your gut microbiota because they keep them level and, well, they have several modes of action that protect it.
Well, clear answer. Last question from my side.
Yeah.
We talked a lot about prices and profitability, but sustainability is an item as well for our industry, of course. Could you measure the impact of this probiotic on climate?
Yes, we actually can. We have a special calculator for that.
All right.
And I can give you an example, so maybe to speak to everybody a little bit more. If you have a poultry feed production company and you produce feed for, say, 35 million birds per year, so the amount of carbon dioxide we can say, or you can save by using GALLIPRO Fit in all of that feed, it comes down to, well, look at a forest of 50,000 trees. Those 50,000 trees will take up carbon dioxide and make it oxygen again. The savings you will make by using GALLIPRO Fit is the same as a forest of 50,000 trees. For 10 years, all the carbon dioxide they take in, you will save that much.
That's pretty impressive, isn't it?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes it is.
And a good example to show to the world as well.
Yep.
Last round through the audience for questions? No? So a big round of applause for Lara Hoving. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, that brings us to the closing part of this seminar. Today we heard about the importance of gut health in broiler production, and we were handed some great tools to keep our birds healthy, even in the most challenging conditions. I want to thank all of today's speakers. They are still all here, right? Maarten de Gussem, Antonia Tanconi, Jaroslav Dastis, and Lara Hoving. A big round of applause for you guys. Thank you for being here as an audience as well. Really enjoyed a couple of questions. It was my pleasure to have you here as a guest of Poultry World. And for now, I would say have a fruitful VIV and start walking again. Thank you very much and see you next time.